is a former senior advisor to the Democratic National Committee, and Lauren Leader, co-founder and CEO of All In Together. It's a group that encourages voting age women to fully participate in the political process. And Lauren, let me start with you, because the timing of it is a bit suspicious. If Elizabeth Warren really does believe that Bernie Sanders might be this sexist, misogynistic Neanderthal, why would they just release this or leak this a few days before the caucuses in Iowa?
I mean, it doesn't look great. I think the timing is eyebrow-raising in some ways. It was campaign staffers who released this statement initially, and then she had to come out and clarify it. Look, I mean, the challenge is, when you look at what's happening with the debate tonight, the narrowing of the field on the debate stage pre-Iowa, and the fact that for a lot of voters, the differences between Sanders and Warren are fairly small. It is going to continue to be very intense between the two of them. But, you know, she stuck her finger on an electrical, in the electrical socket of gender politics, which remains incredibly raw. And I think what you saw in the last 24 hours, the reactions on both sides, really is, brings back a lot of the rancor of the 2016 election, this, the ongoing feeling among many women, especially Clinton supporters, that Sanders supporters, the sort of Bernie bros, as they were called, had misogynistic sort of bullying tactics. There was some part of what I think led to this was a letter that the campaign was sending their staffers out with attacking Warren, saying that she couldn't bring new people into the party. So it is definitely connected. There's no question that the timing of this, I think, is connected to Iowa. It will remain a he said, she said. But the fact is that, for any nominee, winning the female vote, demonstrating an ability to connect very deeply with women voters is going to be essential, and this is not going away.
Doug, the Warren-Sanders rift dominating the political news cycle, how is this going to manifest itself tonight on that debate stage in Iowa?
Well, you got to assume that the network that broke this story is hosting this debate, so it's going to be brought up by one of the moderators. And I think the question is whether or not, Elizabeth Warren continues to try to de-escalate this, but confirm it. If she walks away from the veracity or the truthfulness of the allegation, that's a problem for her. But if she confirms it, then it forces Bernie to respond. So it's going to come up. This is not the debate either of them wants, because, look, in Iowa, if you look at the Des Moines Register poll that happened over the weekend, the two characteristics that caucus goers are hoping to see out of the candidates is, one, the person who can unite the country. That's very important to caucus goers right now. And then, two, the person who can win in November. So if they're having this squabble back and forth about a meeting that took place in 2018, that's not going to go far to making people feel comfortable that they can unite the country if they can't unite the party.
I want to put this graphic back up of the debate stage last night. It's actually a tremendous graphic, by the way, because we can highlight Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. But the guy standing right in the middle, literally right in the middle of Joe Biden, Lauren, is he the guy that benefits most politically from this back and forth?
Actually, I think the person that potentially benefits most from this is Amy Klobuchar, who has been sort of consistently underestimated. But what she has proved, certainly in the LA debate, is she has this incredibly incisive way of breaking through and cutting through the kind of squabbles that come up on the debate stage between the candidates and calling attention to the fact that Americans want the very unity that we've just been talking about. Historically, these kinds of, inter-party fights, the personal attacks on one another have mostly not done good things for candidates. And, Klobuchar, who's really in some ways running as an alternative to Biden, has an opportunity here to demonstrate that she's able to rise above. I think Buttigieg does as well. But, this is where there are some serious problems with the way that the DNC has set this up to narrow the field this much before a single vote has been cast. It creates a much longer runway for Democrats to need to go after each other in order to distinguish themselves from one another. And I think it is yet another manifestation of what is a really problematic process, that we have only these, small number of candidates winnowed down from 20-something in a very short period of time before there has been a single vote cast. And I think we're going to continue to see some fallout from that.
Never mind the fact that Democrats continue to hold their first two primaries in two states that are undeniable.
African-American voters know him. He campaigned all over the country for Obama, and they trust him. I would also say, though, that don't sleep on the fact that younger African-Americans, though, are supporting, providing significant support to Bernie Sanders. So that's an interesting split. And I think ultimately, look, the notion that African-American voters were just going to support a candidate because they were black, whether that be Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, or Deval Patrick, was nonsense. You know, they're going to go through the same thought process as every other voter in terms of determining who they think is the best person to take on Donald Trump and beat him in November. And right now, they're backing Joe Biden.
Doug, thank you. Lauren Leader, big thanks to both of you.